Okay, so let's talk about project one. In this project, you're going to learn a few things about Python. This is kind of the point of the project. And what you'll learn is how to work with Python variables, which is very important. We're going to do that in every single program we write. You're going to learn about different Python data types. So we have numbers, we have strings, we have booleans, which are true and false. You're going to learn about selection. Now, selection is just a fancy word for if statement or an alternative. Okay, so if you've seen other programming languages, you will have done selections, if statements. Okay, something else you'll see in other programming languages are loops. So that's called iteration, and you'll learn about how to do those in Python. And as part of that, you'll learn about the range function, because this range is actually used in many Python loops. It's actually a pretty important part of Python loops. Okay. Now we'll also talk about strings, right, which is one of the different Python data types. But we'll talk about strings, and we'll talk about how to format output using strings. Okay, so that's the goal. That's what you're going to be learning. Now, specifically, what you're doing in the project is you're going to count the number of primes between 1 and 100. Let's say that number is 42. It isn't, but let's just say that it is. Okay, then your program should print a line that looks like there are 42 primes from 1 to 100. So right here, okay, that's what it should look like. Okay, there are 42 primes from 1 to 100. Okay, now that should be exactly the result that you print, right? So there should be one space between words. There should not be two spaces between words. Okay, the first word, which is there, should be capitalized. Okay, there should be a period at the end, and so on, right? It should be exactly like that. The reason is that when you submit this, and you're going to do that through REPL.IT, REPL.IT is going to check the output automatically for me, okay? And it better look like that. Otherwise, REPL.IT will say, no, I'm sorry, you got the wrong answer to the program, okay? So make sure that you get it right. Okay. Now, one last thing. We're talking about counting primes. So what exactly is a prime? You need to know that so you can count them, right? So a prime is just a positive integer that has this property. It's only divisible by 1 and itself. So for example, 4 is not a prime because 4 is divisible by 2, okay? Which is not either 1 or 4. So 4 is not a prime. On the other hand, 5 is a prime, because 5 is divisible by 1, but it's not divisible by 2, it's not divisible by 3, it's not divisible by 4, of course it's divisible by 5. So 5 is divisible only by 1 and 5, so it's a prime, okay? The one caveat is that 1 is not a prime. So you might think, well, 1 is divisible by 1 in itself, and that's it. So it's a prime, right? Sorry, no. The thing is that it should be divisible by 1 and by something other than 1, which is itself. So sometimes I actually like to say it like this. A prime has exactly 2 factors, or 2 divisors, okay? So 5 has exactly 2 factors, 1 and 5. 4 actually has 3 factors, 1, 2, and 4, so that's why it's not a prime, okay? 1 is not a prime because he has 1 factor, just 1. It's supposed to have 2 to be a prime. So I like that. Now you can use either definition. Just remember 1 is not a prime, so don't count it.